All right, we'll open the May 8th Board of Select Board meeting. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All righty. What do we got for manifests?
I start.
You can make a motion for what we've got in there to approve.
All right, I may make a motion that we accept the manifests, approve the manifests just by date. Yep.
Yeah.
Dated May 8th and May 9th, 2017.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now you can start.
Oh, there's a cover sheet now. Wait a minute. Oh, this isn't the receipts, I get you.
That should have been all the stuff that Betsy sent to us.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I recognize
Yeah, you
it.
should have had the opportunity to
I did.
review
I
that
did.
email. Yeah.
Yeah, this one was like a dozen pages or so. So just sign it and pass it on. I got it. I just didn't want to sign it in red.
How is Betsy like in this new process of having one person per month signing?
I haven't heard boo about it, so it must be
So it
much
must be
better.
good?
Yes.
Okay.
Who's on for May anyway?
Me,
And I'm next month.
as I was reminded when she sent me the email and said, when are you coming up?
She's got the list then. That's all.
Yeah, that's all that matters. All set?
Yeah. Do you want a motion on the minutes?
Yep.
There were no amendments to or edits to May 1st, is that correct?
I believe so,
There was, but there was to April 24th?
yes.
Okay. So I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from April 24th, 2017 as amended, and the minutes,
Separate, I need you to separate.
okay,
them.
as amended.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain?
Abstain.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from May 1st, 2017.
And that's the public, right?
Yes.
Okay. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Did we have non-public for the first, Dawn?
Mm-hmm.
So we just did public? You just did
We
public?
just did public, but we don't have a printout of the non-public.
Oh, I didn't know if there were any changes, just were there,
Did we get them?
Yes.
Any changes?
I didn't get any changes from anybody.
Okay. So we want a separate motion for those?
Yep.
does everybody remember getting them?
I don't recall getting them.
We'll postpone those.
Right,
Okay.
just make sure.
Let's carry those over till next week,
Okay.
or 2 weeks.
Who made the second on those minutes?
The non-public? I mean, the public of the non, yes.
May
That-
1st was
From May
Tony.
1st, I
April
seconded.
24th was Charlie.
All right. BOS reports from assigned boards and committees. Budget has not met.
Not yet, they're in the process of getting contact information for the new members. Did you get
And
Eve,
one more,
one left?
yeah,
Which one?
Leslie.
Les,
So I'm gonna go to the town clerk when she's in tomorrow, and see if I can get a final answer, and then maybe we can schedule something for the beginning of June.
okay. And is Miska the acting chair for the time? Or until they make a formal decision?
I don't remember who was vice.
Yeah,
if
who was
there
vice
one.
chair?
Mike.
Mike?
But
Easter.
he didn't,
It wasn't
him and Miska accidentally were going head to head in the election.
Oh, right.
And Mike technically is out until they, until he presents himself to the budget committee and gets, accepted again.
So there's no official, so it'll just kind of be a group decision.
Yeah,
I'll figure it out.
okay.
So somebody will just have to lead that
Somebody else,
discussion.
yeah.
Okay, planning?
Couple things on the planning board. I'll need coverage at the next one, which is May 24th, I think. I won't be able to be there. Stratford Regional Planning has put together a plan, and they're looking at one of the biggest impacts to this region, as we all know, is we're all getting older. And the number of increased in elderly by 2033 will be pretty significant, and they see a lack of accessible transportation as a problem for the area. So that's going to be one of the focuses that they work on. We didn't have a case before us. We did have New Hampshire Electric Cooperative come in for tree removals on Mitchell, Priest, and Canard. Those were all scenic roads, so they needed to get approval from the planning board to remove trees. The majority of the trees are gonna be on Mitchell, but I thought what was interesting is he said the major causes, the trees that they're removing are dying trees. Major cause of the tree deterioration is the way that the dirt roads are maintained with the ditching system and piling on the root systems. He said it's pretty common across the state that is a problem with dirt roads. So I thought it was interesting to share, because I know that, we'll be having a meeting with John on roads, and we're talking about roads, and so I think it's another thing to.
What was what's the impact area? Like trees that are close to the road, trees that are further away from the road?
Well, that's a good question, because if you look at Mitchell Road, the continuing widening of the Mitchell Road, and the way that it's, what's the road and what's
Yeah.
kind of, the sideline, if you would,
Yeah.
of the side of the road,
Yeah.
where if you were to have it paved, right?
Yeah,
What's
the road was a road.
the road, and what's kind of that buffer, but, so they're removing the trees kind of along what would be the side of the road. There was only a few they're in the right of way, I should say.
Okay.
And there was only a few that were on, actually, I don't think there was any that was on private property in Mitchell.
So they're not just clearing what's impeding on the lines, they're clearing trees that are near the roads?
So Mitchell's gonna see a really big impact, is the way that he, pretty much said. Priest has been trimmed, Canard, it's just one tree.
Yeah.
But Mitchell hasn't been maintained in a long time, and so they're gonna do a major cut and brush clearing.
Yeah, yeah, because the reason I'm interested is because they came through our neighborhood And they were there probably for 2 to 3 weeks, and they cleared a lot.
Yeah, and the way that he described it is, the electric co-op doesn't do it as often as Eversource.
Okay,
So when they come in and they do it, they go major.
yeah,
And, because they won't be back for a long time. So what he said was the folks on Mitchell Road's gonna see a real big impact. So, and it's just because a smaller organization, and they don't, do the roads as often.
and are they giving those roads consideration because they're scenic?
So because they're classified as scenic roads, they have to come before the planning board, tell us what trees they're gonna cut down.
Yeah.
They have to, any trees that are on, private property, they have to notify the property owner that they're coming in.
Okay,
He said they do, a robo-like type call to the residents to let them know that they'll be.
just on scenic roads?
No, just on scenic roads, that they'll be cutting the trees. And, he said probably won't start for a couple weeks or a month,
Okay.
so,
Okay.
Make a motion to pave Mitchell Road?
yeah, so, probably wait till they cut the trees, so then it'll be easier. But anyways, I thought, as we kind of keep talking about roads, there's no meeting, this Wednesday, there's no cases before us, so a subcommittee that's working on transportation, and roads is meeting, on Wednesday instead. The other thing that kind of came up in discussion was, the increasing amount of litter that we're seeing along the roadsides. And while we all know that this time of year you can see more, it just seems that there's more and more. So I know we haven't talked about priorities yet, but we might want to throw it out there as far as, what, if anything. Like, right now on Freeman Hall, because I drive by it every day, there's 2 black trash bags on Freeman Hall that I don't know why they appeared, but,
We get that quite a bit in our neighborhood, and what we do is we pretty much walk and clean it up.
Yeah, and I think that, and I think that that's kind of,
Yeah,
but anyway, so that's PB.
okay.
I mean, do you want somebody to, if anybody's interested in taking your place that night for you, you're not gonna be here, or?
Yeah, I'm gonna need it. I know, when we said it, Donna would be the backup, but
Oh, okay,
If you can do it, that would be great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, on that night will be the discussion of impact fees for the school and for the fire department and for the rec. So the consultant that worked on the impact fees is gonna come in. So I should send you the impact fee reports so you have them, so I'll do that.
What time do they meet at?
They start at 7.
Okay, I don't think there are any other boards and committees, right?
Marston and
Yeah,
Chris talked to me earlier, we're gonna get something going, at least, get the people all together.
okay, for fundraising? or
Hoping to come back to you on the 22nd with a phasing plan based on the costs that we're getting.
I hope so,
Costs are tall,
yeah.
so, yeah, we gotta figure something out. We got some grants to, submit for, so we need to have some kind of plan.
Okay,
Numbers are tall.
all right. Okay. Anything else, boards and committees? All right, town administrator report.
Just a couple things, we're talking roads, we're setting up, for the 22nd, your next meeting, for a big road discussion with a few things. And throughout the end of the winter and mud season, we had a lot of communication from residents that we said, okay, well, we're gonna do what we can in the short term and find a time to invite everybody to come talk to the board about whatever their concerns about the roads are. So if it's okay with you, I'd like to just reach out to the people that I heard from this winter with, you know, I wish you'd pave my road kind of complaints or concerns, and then just let them know that you're gonna be talking about it, and if you wanna carve some time out to just listen to them in the context of that discussion. Unfortunately, the day that we've all feared in the retirement of John Fernald is coming. It looks like he's going to be with us probably through about Columbus Day. He's done his last winter. So another subject for the 22nd is a process for what to do about that. Johnny's still going full steam, but it doesn't have a lot of interest in going full steam through another winter like we just had. So on that note, I got one thing for you here, which is a kind of a memo about what the job has been legally and here, and a job description to think about. And I'm going to be giving you another chunk before your next meeting, so it's a big homework night around kind of the strategic plan side of road management, where we are in terms of maintenance, where things sit in the CIP. We've touched on paving some gravel roads and things. So if you want to get started talking about that, John's going to come on the 22nd, so we can start. You can start picking his brain. I've been doing that a lot, and turning all his stuff into data. So I got some good data for you finally on roads, and it sets up a discussion about a number of different things. So it's going to be pretty much road night on the 22nd. But
Yeah, I was going to ask if John had any, you know, of his own thoughts on or recommendations about how we move forward.
Yeah, I think that's a perfectly good question to ask him directly. I think, and the thing that he's actually proofreading it for me right now, but the thing that I'm going to send you shows that we are in, and if you look at, I mean, you drive around town, you get a sense, our roads are our asphalt roads are in pretty good shape. And if you look at our maintenance history, they should be in good to very good shape. We're in the asphalt roads, and our bridges we're in really good shape. And I don't have any other town data to compare it to, but just the schedule that we've been able to maintain of rebuilding and maintaining, we're in good shape on the asphalt side. On the gravel side, it's hard to put together data on that. So your anecdotal and experiential knowledge is as good as anything. And I think we know our gravel roads are in tougher shape a lot of the year. So he can shed some light on that. He can talk to you about the history of what he's done for what types of major maintenance we've done. You know, there's stand seal, crack seal, overlay. You know, there's different things that he's learned over the years doing things. So we can talk about all that. We don't have to finish it that night, but you know, we'll get started, and then over the summer do it once or twice more if there are big kind of strategic decisions that you want to make about our priorities. And we can do that and kind of set up a next person with that. So.
Questions or
No,
comments?
I was just thinking it may be good to invite the Transportation Roads Subcommittee of the Planning Board to that.
Okay.
It's Dirk, Teresa Bascom, and Joe Clough.
Maybe we
Okay.
can kind of plan it in stages. So our first discussion is with John, but it's also what do we need to know to make a decision, and
Yeah.
who else do we need to talk to?
Yeah.
I agree that
Yeah,
makes
and
a lot of sense.
not just so that more from a listening standpoint,
Mhm.
because
Yep.
you know there'll be. I mean, one of the things that they're going to be looking at is the that chapter of the master plan
Yep,
as well. So, you know,
yep.
Yeah, there are a few things that
Yeah.
We need to put those two together. Okay, I'll make sure they know about it.
Anybody else on that one? Topic?
Okay.
Can you just send this electronically too, please? Thank you.
And only one other thing, and Kristen's not here, but I'll get you, Sam, don't worry. I just talked with Kristen Lamb on the Conservation Commission today. They're interested in putting up some turtle crossing signs that the Fish and Game Department's gonna give us. Roads are your purview, so I just wanna make sure you're okay with 3 turtle crossing signs being placed on Berry, Deerfield, and Flutter. The purpose is to alert people that turtles are crossing during nesting season. We have some valued species, including a Blanding's turtle, which is endangered here in town. The neat thing about these is they're seasonal signs. You flap them up during the season and you flap them down when you don't need people to pay attention to the turtles, so people just don't start to ignore them, and they
Right.
appear in the spring and
Right.
maybe actually have some impact on driver
So
behavior.
what were the 3 roads?
Berry, Deerfield Road, and Flutter Street. And I believe that is a recommendation of the Conservation Commission run by Fish and Game for blessing or something along those lines, yeah. And I don't know if the rest of you know it, but Kristen offered you all up to do the sign flipping at the beginning and end of the season, so. I told her that we'd be good at sticking the post in the ground, but we wouldn't be quite so good at
Yeah, flipping
the
it.
signs.
flipping the sign at the right time of year, so.
So is it 2 signs per road?
Yeah, I would assume so, yeah.
2 signs per
Yeah.
road? And what's the cost of the signs?
We just limit manpower for us, just to put it in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything to add to that? No. Okay.
Anybody have any questions on that?
Okay, that's it.
Okay. Nothing in, do you have anything else for us to sign?
No, just after your public hearing on the vote, we'll sign that,
Okay.
but that's it. And there's one piece of mail, general coastal climate workshop
Oh, okay.
thing, so that,
Okay.
and that's it.
Anybody interested? All right. Shall we move on to the Fernal easement? Thank you.
We're ready.
Okay.
All right, come on down. Make sure you start by telling the folks who you are.
I chair the Conservation Commission here in town, and to my left is Tom Howe from the Society for the Protection of New Hampshire Forests, with whom the vernal easement has been placed, and he has a presentation to make.
Thank you, Sam, and thank you all for having me here again. It's always a pleasure to visit your town. I think it's fair to say that the Forest Society has had just an outstanding partnership with the town of Nottingham, a real standout for us, and we work with a lot of towns, so we're really appreciative of the tremendous support that you have provided in this particular project, not only with the wonderful financial support from the town's conservation fund, which was absolutely crucial to this whole project being able to happen, but also your logistical support, your terrific administrative support. You know, Chris was just superb in helping us with a number of things along the way. We had many meetings here and used the space, so we really appreciate the breadth and depth of support that you've shown in partnership with the Forest Society and as well other groups that I know you work with, the Bear Paw Regional Greenways and others. So we really want to commend you. We did have the closing a little more than a year ago on this fantastic conservation easement with public access rights, pedestrian rights, and really excellent resource features with frontage on the lake black gum swamp with some really ancient trees, all abutting Pawtuckaway State Park, and providing for, I think, some new recreational and educational opportunities for folks in this area, with the parking area that's allowed to be constructed and trails and so on. So we're really pleased that that has all worked out as it has. We had a nice gathering last August on a very hot day with many of the donors who were able to be a part of the project. It was very definitely a partnership effort, including many folks from the lake itself as well as the community here. And so we wanted to also be able to thank you directly for your critical involvement. And we have a small framed photo and sentiment for you to place wherever you'd like on the wall. And this is, to read it, it says, "To the town of Nottingham, with great appreciation for supporting the Forest Society's acquisition of the Helen Fernald Conservation Easement on Pawtuckaway Lake, and for your commitment to conserving the lands which make New Hampshire special." So this will join, I think, something that we have provided previously for the Mulligan Forest project, which was really our first and most major project in partnership with you. And we look forward to any future opportunities we might have to do similar kinds of work with you. So thank you very much.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
It's nice to have people come in and share good things with us.
Well, you're top. You're top.
There you go. That's awful nice. Very
Where do we
nice.
hang it now?
Mulligan one's in the town office.
Yeah, I think, that photo's beautiful. Yeah, I think Chris should hang that in the town office, because that gets the most traffic, right?
I think
Excellent.
it's an example of the support of the community too. I think we've got a community that values the natural resources and have expressed that with their vote, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Chris, where are we in the cycle of meeting with the Conservation Commission? I know we were trying to do that about once a quarter or
Yeah, we're overdue.
or something. I mean, I think those are good, just conversations, good get-togethers, just to kind of see where
Yep.
you guys are at. So I'd like to try and do one of
We'll
those.
set something up in
Yeah,
mid-June,
yeah.
something like that? Okay.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right. Route 4.
Do you want to do your 7 o'clock public hearing first?
Yep.
It's 7 o'clock.
Sure. I had 6:57.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. The cell people have 6:58 as well.
But, that would be my phone.
You getting a call from the public now? Is that,
That's the Shored Forest,
Yes.
Forest
I
ringtone.
have that one.
Yeah, you do. You here for the public hearing? Okay. Yes. One person. Thank you, thank you. To open it, do we just open it? You
Yep,
don't need a
just-
motion or
Nope,
anything like that?
you can open it, you can close it,
All
you
right,
can do what you want.
let us open the hearing on ratification of the March 2017 town meeting. Do we have anyone from the public who'd like to comment? Okay. Oh, come on, that's disappointing.
Observer, I'm just an observer today.
Okay, all right.
Usually I would have something to say, but if you
Okay, so this has to do, obviously, with the fact that we were able to hold second part of the town meeting on Saturday, but the first part, which is the poll voting and is technically part of the town meeting, had to be postponed because of weather. Got pushed to Thursday. There was a lot of confusion and discussions in the state, throughout the state, about whether that was legal or not. Mixed messages coming from folks, esteemed folks in Concord. So I think this is the the make it all good move, where we as the board can ratify, based, after hearing public comment, we can ratify the results of that election. So,
Maybe you just want to, for the public's sake, make note of the warrant articles that were passed or those that did not pass.
yeah, I mean, the primary, on the ballot on Tuesday, the primary thing was the election of members to boards and to town positions. There were some zoning,
There were a couple of zoning.
which both passed, all passed.
And then also the school
School ballots.
School ballot.
ballot.
You're not validating the school ballots, the school board did that. so
Okay,
okay.
you don't
Got
do
that.
Okay.
You,
Sure.
we had 2 zoning amendments and the petition to change the size of the board, which did not pass.
Which did not pass, correct. So that was it.
Or select.
So, in the event that we didn't ratify this, then we would have to go back and have another whole election, is that correct? Or-
No, the legislature has validated the election of officers.
Yep.
So you all are legitimately here and voting and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, right.
It's everything else on the ballot that you have the opportunity to ratify. If you do not, you make it hard for us to enforce the zoning ordinance changes. We'd have to make some decisions about what we tried to enforce and what
Yep.
we didn't, if any. There would be nothing saying you'd have to hold another meeting, but we'd probably end up just voting on those zoning ordinance changes again next year to make sure that they're locked up.
Okay.
I didn't really chase that
Yeah,
possibility
I just-
because I didn't think you'd
No,
actually entertain it.
No, I was just trying to understand. All right, comments, thoughts?
I think there were, what, like 38 other communities that did a similar thing? Seemed like a lot of feedback that came down from Concord, nobody wanted to put their head in the guillotine.
Exactly.
It's the perfect solution, personally, I think.
And we didn't hear any complaints from any townspeople as far as,
Not a one. We had 4 people come to the polls that day, the originally scheduled day, and we had our town clerk and/or moderator or deputy town clerk, somebody was here throughout all of the posted voting hours to meet anybody that came expecting to vote, to either set them up with an absentee ballot or let them know that Thursday was the day. So turnout a couple of days later was perfectly normal and adequate. The word seemed to get out.
Yep. Anyone else?
The only question I had was whether or not the legislature had already ratified the election of officers.
Yeah.
So, because that was supposed to be a prerequisite to this being able to happen, so.
Okay. Barring no other comment, I'll take a motion on this.
I'll make a motion that,
Sorry, just read what he's got here.
make a motion that we the ratification of March 2017 town meeting, whereas the town meeting elections scheduled for March 14th, 2017 were postponed until March 16th, 2017 due to weather safety concerns. The state of New Hampshire adopted HB 329, permitting the select board to ratify the results of postponed voting. A duly notified and published public hearing was held on May 8th, 2017. The Nottingham Select Board hereby legalizes, ratifies, and confirms all actions, votes, and proceedings held following the postponement of election on March 14th, 2017.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 You can sign and pass that down, please.
And I guess they have, there's a bill or a committee studying this. That was just in the legislative bulletin.
Yeah, the bulletin hinted that they didn't look like they were moving that fast on a solution, but it's definitely in the on the legislature's plate now, and everybody everybody agrees they need to do something.
Yeah,
Whether they'll do it, don't know.
yeah.
Okay. Ready to move on to Route 4?
Yep. Few subjects on that tonight. There's been no news of any sort since we last discussed it. Nothing out of the court, nothing out of anything there. No contact from anybody, so it's been very quiet. We touched on an open administrative order with DES regarding wetland disturbances. We're gonna, on Thursday, Mark West has offered to kind of help us figure out what's needs to be done there, if anything, and he and I and somebody from DES are gonna walk Thursday morning through the property and look at the old administrative order and what was done and what wasn't done and what may need to be done or may not need to be done, with an eye toward hopefully just closing that out once DES gets a look at the property. So that's on Thursday. Two topics for tonight. One is an RFP for environmental assessment services, and the other is demo of the condemned building. We just got the bids for the demolition, which range from 11 to 18,000, which is I think more than we had been anticipating. We also asked for a couple of quotes on fencing, which we haven't got back yet. So I can't give you an alternative to the full-blown demo, but renting even a fence to put around the building and for the short term is certainly an option if we move to sell the property in relatively short order. You know, fence would be a heck of a lot cheaper in terms of out-of-pocket costs. So, but we just don't have any sense of what those fence rental kind of things go for. If it's, you know, if it's $1,000 a month, you know,
What kind of fence are we talking about, though? Like a chain
It's
link?
like a construction site fence that,
Oh, the orange stuff?
not the plastic stuff, but the, you know, a chain link with the
Oh,
boxes that you stuff it in, probably a 6-footer, just enough to, you know, slow somebody down from getting into it. That it secures the perimeter more or less. You could get over it or get through it if you really wanted to, but it's enough to keep a kid out, which is, you know, really what we're trying to do. So, I don't know what your pleasure is. If you want to wait and see what that rental number looks like, or if you just want to move forward with demolition at 11,000. Whoever buys it's going to need to do the same thing, so it's going to come off the top of whatever we sell it for.
What's the reason for the big disparity between 11 and 18?
Don't know.
Yeah, I
Dan
mean,
Danley always bids high,
He does.
but he has
he's a
used the
good.
town very well over the years.
Yep.
For Marston, as an example, he charges half of what he bid on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, were these one-for-one bids, meaning, did they just bid on it, or did they explain their process? Did they explain how they get rid of the materials? Like, it's hard for me to just say, you know,
Based on price alone?
based on price
Yep.
alone.
Well, they all knew what the expectations were that were laid out in the RFP. Let me call that up and I can read you what that is.
So Delaney's done work for us before, or any of the...
Danley has, yeah.
Danley, were any of the other ones?
The other three were not, I am not familiar with it. I don't believe Paul was either, with the other three. Where is the,
Recognize these other names, I've seen a couple
Yeah.
of us over the years.
It almost, if you look at the bids, really the last one, the least expensive one, kind of, that one, I'd want to understand why, because the other ones are very close.
Yeah.
They normally will take samples, core samples, or whatever you want, not core samples, but samples of the building materials in the surrounding area and make sure that and test things to make sure there's no, hazardous materials. And Danley goes by the book. And probably these others do too. It's pretty straightforward in that business.
I do think I'd want to see the comparison to the fence.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know, do you guys feel the same way?
and it was just the one building, right, not the other two that were,
Yep.
and is around that building paved or unpaved?
Unpaved.
So it'd be pretty easy to put in a fence.
Yeah, the ones that, I think what we'd use is they have these big blocks that they stick the fences. The fences are built with a thing and they're strapped together, so it's 8-foot sections. It's not a permanent.
Okay, yeah,
thing.
now I know, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Not a permanent fence installation. It's like a job site fence
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah, I think I mean, if we're moving towards selling it, I think the fence option's probably gonna be worth looking at.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. You
Is
guys have
this
any
the
thoughts?
same?
That'd only be in the area where the buildings are.
Right. Yeah, it's just around that one building. That's the only fencing area, yeah. It's about 10,000 square feet, whatever that box turns into.
Is this the same building we're looking to demo, or is?
Yes, that is
Oh,
the
okay. All right,
only,
just
the only,
wanted to make
yes.
And also, is there any personal property in the building that needs to be removed before it's demoed?
no,
Like
yeah.
there was a car in one of the buildings?
No, this one is, test for asbestos and anything else
Yeah.
that dicey like that, and then get rid of it. There's nothing in there,
But nothing
no
that's
salvage
not,
value, no.
right. But I mean, personal property in the sense of stuff that's not permanently attached to the ground.
Nothing significant.
So no office furniture,
No, but there's bits and pieces of stuff, but nothing significant.
garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll get treated like the building
Building
itself.
waste.
Yeah.
Okay.
So are we, do we want to wait till we see the fence estimates before we decide on this?
Wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, fine with me.
Okay, right? Good with that, Chris?
Okay, second thing is, request for qualifications formula. That's what I sent you today that Charlene and I had put together. This was, after talking to DES, we got pretty much everything we were gonna get out of DES in terms of free help. Where we left off is that we need somebody who knows such things, to look at the test results that came back from the prior contamination cleanup, the tests that were done at the end of that cleanup, and tell us if there's anything else that we might be concerned with around that site. Everybody that we've talked to said that there are things that that co-occur with the things that were cleaned up there. One that they couldn't test for 15 years ago. So what we need is somebody to look at the test results and the site and the prior use and say, yeah, these are instances where you might expect some co-occurrence of other things. 1,4-dioxane is the one that's been mentioned the most. PFOA, PFC are the other two. PFOA is just kind of coming online as a contaminant. It's, in the last few years. The informal DES peek at it went right to 1,4-dioxane, and they kind of threw in the other ones as well. Everybody's looking for that everywhere. So what we need is somebody that can look at the test results in the site and say, yeah, it's worth looking for X or Y or Z, and this is how you ought to do it. They could come back and say, no, I don't think there's any likelihood of you finding that there. But this is the one piece that we need to know in terms of what we're going to do next, whether we're going to act like a landowner or we're going to sell it or whatever we're going to do. The way I envision this is this is a request for qualifications. We left it kind of open-ended because we need to have a conversation with the professionals about this is where we are and this is where we need to get to, and we need them to tell us how they would help us do that. So we're looking not just for a straight, like a demolition, knock down the building and make it go away. We need some guidance between where we are and where we want to be. We have a list of, I've culled it down to about 40 certified folks from DES that are all, licensed to do this kind of work. And I would envision us, this is a pretty quick turnaround. This calls for results, responses to us within, I think,
By the
12
19th.
days, if we turn this around tomorrow. Go through the written responses, 40, we'll invite 40 people and see what we get. And bring in a handful that we either have some experience with or get, I can ask around neighboring communities who's had good experience with X, Y, or Z. We'll get a hint at what the pricing will be in the responses to these. So we'll see if there are people that are on an hourly basis are real outliers, and meet with however many we decide to as a result of that screening process, and then come back to you in 4 weeks with a selected firm and a scope of work and a contract. We need to keep this moving. We've got, we got a few different things that are moving us along. So this is a pretty aggressive time schedule. I don't think the first step of this work is not a huge job for many of these firms. This is mostly office work with a little bit of site work, to come back to us with some recommendations about next steps. So that's where Charlene and I left off. Anything you want
Nope.
to add to that?
Were you part of developing this?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So if you're comfortable with that, we will move forward and turn that loose tomorrow. And then if you want to be involved in the meetings with those, or you want to see all the written responses, I ask for them electronically. I can send you all of those. If you want to be involved with meeting with the firms, we can schedule it at a time that works for you. That'll be 3 and 4 weeks from now.
Okay. I'm assuming you're going to want to do that?
Yeah, but I also don't want to hold it up if my schedule doesn't
Okay.
permit it.
Okay. All right.
Pick out like 3 or so or whatever, and then have them come in front of us. Not to talk to all 40 might say they want to bid on it.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get 40, but I think the time frame's going to scare some of them off, and that's okay. I'm really fine with that.
Yeah, and I don't think you need to bring any of them here. I mean, I think you can make your recommendation,
Okay.
provide us, unless you guys disagree.
Fine, I don't.
Okay.
Okay. All right, we will move forward on that. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all I have on the Route 4 property today.
It's got to be a record for meetings.
We will make up for it on the 22nd, I promise.
Is there, so that covers all the agenda items. Is there anything else that anybody needed to bring up tonight at this meeting?
Nothing for new business, but I did just want to recap the training, that I went to in Peterborough on the,
Oh, yeah.
is it the 9th or the 19th? I forget which. Anyways, it was last month, and it was, well, it's a big book, and I would genuinely categorize it as exceptional.
Good.
I mean, I've been to a number of their trainings, and they've gone from lackluster to pretty good to they're getting it right. They're figuring it out. And this book is an incredibly well laid out reference. And I was very careful not to mark it up that way. I mean, I'd be happy to leave it in the office as a reference for any of us.
I have 1 year behind you there, but.
Masters, yeah.
Yeah, hack it up, use it. You're gonna,
This-
mine is all ragged. I use it all.
Is
the time.
it? Yeah, it's really good. So I don't know if you haven't gone yet, Charlie?
I have some older ones. In fact, I may have left them in the office. I mean, I
Yeah.
went to a lot of those trainings
Yeah.
over the years. And like you said, there's some of them are exceptional. Others, it depends on the presenter
Yeah,
many
yeah,
times. But overall, they did a good job, I thought,
yeah.
between them and Primex too.
So they were, when I was there, they focused very heavily on roads, road maintenance, scenic roads and so on, right to know, and there was another topic. But anyways, it was very, very well done. So I found it to be time well spent.
Good. The only other thing I wanted to mention is that on Wednesday night is the DARE graduation. Fifth graders having completed the DARE program. Officer Woodman is the one who drives that program, although I have to say last year I was extremely impressed when every single, or just about every single member of the police department came and participated in that. Were your kids there last year?
My youngest is a fifth grader this year.
This year, okay.
So I'll be
you'll
there. I
So
will be there.
it's tradition that the chair of the select board gives a little speech. So I'll be giving a speech at that on Wednesday.
I thought you were gonna ask me if I could fill in for you and give a speech.
No, I actually like doing it.
Yeah.
I enjoy doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll be there.
You want a motion? Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.